jetzt deine Stimme ab? Wenn ja, dann tritt für mich ein, so wie ich für dich eingetreten bin.
From the ruins of a broken nation, a dark force emerged. A regime driven by hatred, fear, and ambition.
Museum historians weren't sure what to make of it at first, but the album turned out to be the scrapbook of a Nazi.
It's just incredible to see the actual thing. It's like living history.
A recently released black and white photograph from the Nazi era has sparked a heated debate with an unusual detail in the frame that has remained unexplained for 8 decades. Those who have seen the original agree that something doesn't fit with what's been written in the books, and that very anomaly has opened up a whole new set of questions, forcing experts to re-examine the entire historical context. Let's start from where the photo was found. The photo was found in 2019 at a small flea market in southern Germany. The stall owner said it was in an old metal box that he had bought from an abandoned attic. There were no identifying marks on the photo except for a thick layer of dust covering its surface. The buyer initially thought it was just an ordinary antique, until he realized that the image printed on the paper did not resemble the popular Nazi photos often seen in archives. What was strange was the composition and the way the figures in the photo were lined up so precisely, as if they were hiding something behind them. When the photo was posted on a forum for war archives, the community immediately noticed a detail in the background. Behind the group of SS officers was a large steel door engraved with a strange symbol that had never appeared in any military symbology records of the period. The appearance of the symbol caused many people to stop and take a closer look. The sharpness of the image suggests it was taken with an early Leica, a device used by Nazi reporters and officers during important operations. What baffles collectors is that the image is not part of any official publicly available collection, including the Bundesarchiv or Yad Vashem archives. The photograph shows 7 SS officers standing in a row, all wearing the standard Einsatzgruppen uniforms used on the Eastern Front. Another person in a white blouse appears next to them, suggesting the presence of a medic or army doctor. The combination of SS uniform and blouse adds to the unusual composition of the photograph. Another interesting detail is the object the officer in the middle is holding. It is a small, leather-bound book, the cover of which bears the same symbol as the one on the steel door. This has led researchers to believe that the two objects are directly related, although the extent or significance is unclear. The man in the white coat is believed to be a military doctor, but his uniform and insignia do not match those of a regular medical unit. Through analysis of facial morphology and hairstyle, some experts have found similarities with the profiles of doctors who worked at experimental camps in Poland and Ukraine. Although this has not been officially confirmed, the ground in the photo suggests that the location may have been near underground structures or isolated facilities. The structure of the wall behind the steel door suggests that the photo was not taken at a concentration camp, but rather in a fortified structure, likely part of a special military project under the SS. Some members of the public have argued that the steel structure closely resembles the doors used in the Project Reese complex. Technical analysis of the image using modern software shows that the photograph was taken under well-controlled lighting conditions. All facial features are clear, except for one figure who has been completely blurred by direct processing of the original. This is not a consequence of time, but a deliberate intervention to obscure identity. The photo quickly caught the attention of researchers because of the manual blurring, which is rare in Nazi-era documents. This suggests that the image had been altered before being hidden, as if someone wanted to protect the identity of an individual who played a key role in the photograph's context. After the initial debate died down, experts began to conduct further analysis using AI technology. They magnified the resolution and compared the facial features of the remaining officers with thousands of Einsatzgruppen photo files. The results showed a high degree of similarity to members who had participated in a massive extermination operation in the Ukraine region in 1941. This coincidence led to the hypothesis that the photo was related to the activities of Einsatzkommando 6, a unit noted in many documents on special operations. What continued to attract experts' attention was not the officers, but the steel door and the symbol that appeared behind them, because it did not fit into the context of a conventional battlefield. The steel door bearing the strange symbol became the focus of analysis. Researchers found that the symbol did not match any military, administrative, or religious symbology found in Nazi documents. The shape of the symbol reminded them of some runic designs, but did not match any of the known variants. The fact that a symbol not found in any official records appeared in a high-resolution photograph, and that it was located in a heavily fortified steel structure, led researchers to believe that it could be part of an undisclosed project. From there, they began to trace the clues to the real door's location. The tracing process took months, based on analysis of geology wall textures and small details in the photos. Eventually, a number of parameters suggested the photo was related to an area that was once part of the Project Reese network in the Owl Mountains. This information led the team to: the investigation is being expanded as many areas of the complex remain sealed off. From here, identifying the characters in the image becomes the next important step in the decoding process. The people in the photo. The first result that drew attention was the officer third from the left. Facial matching software indicated a strong resemblance to Jakub Annen, a recorded member of Einsatzkommando 6, who appeared at multiple execution sites in Ukraine in 1941. This initial match narrowed the possible historical frame surrounding the photograph. With this lead, the team expanded comparisons across surviving military archives. Badges on several collars and shoulder boards indicated that multiple individuals in the frame held mid to high-ranking positions. This reinforced the assumption that the photo was taken during a task of elevated importance rather than a routine deployment. Attention then turned to the white-coated figure. His hairstyle, facial structure, and uniform details suggested he was likely a military doctor assigned to SS laboratory or infirmary functions. The badge on his sleeve did not match any catalog design from the period, introducing a degree of uncertainty about his exact assignment and role. The officer positioned at the center displayed posture and bearing, consistent with someone coordinating the event documented in the image. His leather-bound notebook engraved with the same symbol present on the steel door behind the group added weight to theories that the notebook served a role beyond personal documentation. The notebook stood out as the sole object duplicated in two different locations within the frame. Researchers inferred that it might not be a private possession, but possibly an identifier used for a specific internal program or sealed project. This made deciphering its markings a high priority for the analytical team. The most striking alteration in the photograph was the deliberate blurring of a single individual's face. The masking was performed manually on the original print. Experts confirmed that the distortion was not caused by film decay, exposure damage, or environmental degradation. The precision of the modification suggested an intentional effort to erase the subject's identity from historical view. Such redaction matched patterns seen in SS files involving personnel assigned to covert operations. This supported the idea that the obscured figure was involved in an activity requiring strict anonymity, possibly linked to classified facilities or restricted research programs. Further examination of remaining features showed slight similarities to a logistics officer who disappeared from records in late 1943, offering a tentative but valuable investigative lead. The expressions and stances of the surrounding officers also provided context. Several assumed formal reporting posture, while others appeared unusually tense, suggesting an atmosphere of oversight or internal inspection. These cues pointed to a controlled environment with a clear hierarchy at the moment the photograph was taken. Clothing analysis, insignia placement, and spatial arrangement helped reconstruct the internal chain of command within the group. This reconstruction offered insight into the significance of the photo and why it may never have been incorporated into official archives. The configuration also hinted at a structured objective behind the gathering. The identification phase unfolded alongside a reconstruction of the historical backdrop. The alignment with known Einsatzkommando 6 activities indicated that the photo was likely taken during a period when German forces were extending underground networks and conducting confidential operations across Eastern Europe. Within this larger context, the white-coated figure became increasingly important. During this era, military physicians were often assigned to secluded or subterranean facilities to conduct biomedical evaluations tied to restricted research programs. His appearance supported the notion that the photographed scene reflected work outside routine military logistics. Facial recognition data also clarified the ranking layout within the group. Commanding figures occupied central positions, while support personnel stood at the margins. This suggested the photo may have been captured before or after an inspection or internal review typical of sites operating under secrecy. The completed identification stage established the foundation for the next phase of analysis, enabling researchers to trace the steel door visible behind the officers and investigate its connection to the broader operation documented in the image. Underground steel door. The analysis began with an examination of the door's materials and construction. Structural engineers determined that the thick steel plates and heavy hinges were consistent with Nazi-era underground military sites. This type of reinforced design did not appear in standard concentration camp facilities, indicating a different classification of structure. The team compared the surrounding stonework to known underground complexes across Eastern Europe. Material inconsistencies ruled out many locations. Several remaining indicators pointed toward the network of Project Rees, the large SS-run construction system built in the Owl Mountains between 1943 and 1945. Project Rees consisted of multiple tunnels and fortified chambers, many left unfinished and sealed after the war. Among documented sites, its architectural patterns were the closest match to what appeared in the photograph. This connection offered the first substantive lead regarding the door's origin. Technical details extracted from the image showed that the door was thicker than a standard bunker model. Experts noted that such variations typically appeared in high-security sectors used for storing restricted documents, scientific equipment, or classified activities requiring total isolation. A review of old German maps and post-war Allied intelligence reports helped narrow the search. The W7 sector of Project Rees aligned with several visual details in the photograph. The sector was sparsely documented and few interior images were known to exist, increasing its relevance to the investigation. In 2021, a Polish exploration group reported a sealed entryway in the Owl Mountains. Their grainy footage displayed a steel construction and stone configuration similar to those in the photograph. The international research team secured access to the footage and used scanning software to compare the structures. Digital simulations revealed notable similarities in the engraved lines and hinge placement. Though certainty was impossible, the overlap persuaded several specialists that the entrance could be directly connected to the officers seen in the photo, reinforcing the investigative direction. Further analysis focused on the carved symbol on the door. While absent from official SS archives, its structure resembled certain runic-style variations occasionally associated with specialized research branches. No conclusive documentation existed, but the resemblance raised the possibility of a restricted internal designation. Microscopic review of the symbol's edges indicated it had been hand-carved using specialized tools rather than stamped or machine-produced. This suggested the marking was created for a unique purpose outside the standardized military symbol system, strengthening the theory that the site operated under special protocols. Questions regarding the structure's purpose led the team to wartime reports. These documents indicated that several Project Reese chambers were intended for research testing and archival storage built far below ground to ensure full isolation and security. Allied sketches from late 1945 described underground rooms located hundreds of meters beneath the surface. These isolated chambers were suitable for operations requiring strict secrecy. The design profile aligned closely with what the team had reconstructed from the photograph. Topographic simulations were used to determine the likelihood of tunnels behind the photographed door. Geological data for the W7 area showed a corridor running toward 3 large interior rooms. Although surviving wartime reports lacked detail, the spatial match reinforced the emerging hypothesis. Local accounts describing metallic noises from sealed mountain sections after the war were also reviewed. Though anecdotal and not evidence, such reports contributed contextual clues about the mysterious reputation surrounding the area over decades. Combining photographic data, structural analysis maps, and wartime documentation, the team concluded that the door most likely belonged to an underground bunker sealed since 1945. Establishing its link to Project Reese provided a clearer framework for understanding the scene. These findings guided the next phase of the investigation, determining what lay behind the steel door and clarifying the role of the officers present at the site. The final secret: the corridor leading into the central area extended farther than expected. Its walls were built from mountain stone reinforced with thick steel framing, indicating a structure engineered to withstand pressure and maintain full isolation. The integrity of the construction remained stable, showing that the bunker had been intentionally designed for long-term durability. Deeper inside, the team encountered the first room. Metal shelves and wire mounts suggested it once housed monitoring instruments for environmental control. A number of shelves stayed intact, hinting that the room functioned as a temperature regulation and storage space. No readable documents survived, leaving only structural clues of its original purpose. The second room showed clear signs of scientific work. Impressions on the stone floor revealed where heavy tables and cabinets had stood. Several chalk markings appeared on the walls, faded and illegible, consistent with the handwriting of someone trained in medical or technical procedures. These marks strengthened the theory that specialized research had once taken place in the bunker. Chemical traces of preservative solution remained on the metal tabletop, reinforcing the likelihood of biomedical activity. Broken glass bottles scattered in a corner implied an abrupt evacuation during the war's final months. Although most equipment had deteriorated, enough remained to outline the operational layout of the room. At the end of the corridor stood a third door, smaller than the others, but reinforced more heavily. A sheet of frost covered its surface, evidence of sub-zero temperatures maintained for an extended period. Specialized gear was required to disengage the mechanical locks, which remarkably continued to function after many decades. When the door opened, a surge of cold air swept outward. Inside lay a compact chamber coated in frost. Snow-like crystals clung to every stone seam. At its center rested a stainless steel container nearly 2 meters long, elevated on a stone base. This object, larger than anything else in the bunker, immediately became the core of the investigation. Once the ice was cleared from its exterior, the container's tight welds and sealed joints became visible. A small plaque bore the inscription Die Überlebende, Versuch 12, indicating that it belonged to a numbered experimental series. Its build suggested that access was intended to occur only under controlled circumstances. After forcing the lid open with precision tools, the team confronted the unexpected: the preserved body of a girl around 10 years old. Maintained in deep cold conditions, her features were astonishingly intact. Both skin and hair retained sharp definition, evidence of a cryogenic environment that had remained stable for decades. A metal tag attached to her chest displayed a code matching the plaque on the container, indicating she had been cataloged as part of a structured research program. The design of the box reinforced this interpretation, hinting at a procedure reliant on rigorous environmental control. DNA tests performed by a contemporary laboratory revealed anomalies. Certain genetic segments failed to align with population samples across European databases. Specialists concluded that these irregularities might represent rare variants produced through experimental biological manipulation. Near the container, a damaged notebook was found lodged beneath loose stone. Although extensively deteriorated, several legible passages identified it as the work of a physician involved in the experiment. The entries describe the subject's condition, procedural milestones, and the critical need for continuous cold storage to maintain viability. The diary referenced escalating resource shortages in late 1944 and noted repeated mentions of premature termination, suggesting the project ended abruptly due to wartime collapse. This supported the theory that the facility was sealed in haste, leaving equipment and materials behind. Experts concluded that the cold room's engineering and the container's sophistication indicated a project of substantial scale and investment. The girl's state of preservation demonstrated an application of cryogenic methods far beyond the documented capabilities of the era. The discoveries within the bunker implied that the mysterious photograph was not an isolated artifact, but the first trace of a long-concealed operation. The remnants formed a complex picture of secrecy, technical ambition, and unfinished research layers of information that continued to prompt deeper investigation. Subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to stay tuned for future episodes where new data will continue to be analyzed and published.